Guys, I'm excited to have a pair of Origin boots. This is my first time getting my hands on a pair of these. These are made up in Maine, and they are partially owned by Jocko Willink, the Navy SEAL. Now, this pair of boots is owned by a guy named JD. He runs the YouTube channel, The History Underground. And these things have been all over the world, from Normandy to the Eagle's Nest, to the Battle of Franklin, to the Battle of Gettysburg. So a lot of history in these. Let's break them open and see what we got. Y'all know that Trent and I are big history nerds, and I'm jealous at some of the cool places that these boots have gotten to travel to. Okay, so we've got the Vibram sole off. We're down to the midsole. These are a stitch down construction, halfway just behind the joints here. And then it looks like the whole midsole is insole stitched and then outsole stitched on the upper that's flipped out. So that's what we got so far.
Okay, so one of the reasons that Heath and I are deciding to go ahead and replace this leather midsole, for a couple of reasons. Did we have to? Not necessarily. The good thing about this pair of boots is that it can easily be resoled without having to do much. But as you guys know, we also want to break this pair of boots down a bit, take a look at how these origins are made so that we can tell you guys. But also, with JD out there trekking all over the world in this pair of boots, I want to make sure that this leather really gets a good hold on the midsole and on the rubber soles we're putting on, and that's another reason why we're replacing these.
So pulling the stitches out on this one is not so easy, because they actually have a layer of what appears to be like a pour-on coating the entire top of the insole, and so the stitches sink down in the pour-ons. Can't even see them. So with a stitch down, there is no welt to guide you along, so you have to get a really good trace to make sure that the sole is the same shape. This is going to be my insole stitch line, and it goes all the way around. All right, so Black Friday is right around the corner. We're preparing for Christmas season, and Trent and I always like to give y'all great ideas. Now, here's a company that I have really started to like, Extra. Extra is known for inventing the first trackable wallet. Now, some of the cool features with these wallets are super slim. It's half the size of a conventional wallet, but you can still carry up to 12 cards and cash. Quick card access. No more having to dig your fingernails down there to try to get your cards. Access to your cards can be done with a little trigger mechanism that causes the cards to pop up. It's got built-in RFID blocking, which protects you from data theft and wireless skimming. And it has a solar-powered tracking device, which allows you to track your wallet's location from your phone. All right, y'all, so make sure you use the code Trenton and Heath. Now, on the website, they are already going up to 50% off on your orders. Now, if you use our code, you get an additional 5% off or 55% off your order. And y'all, the link is in the description below. Oh, and I ran out of thread. All right, now we can keep going. All right, now remember me saying that these were a stitch down construction. Now, one of the benefits of stitch down is it really is a little bit more comfortable for a person who typically has a wider foot. It gives a little bit more wiggle room because the upper goes down and then out versus down and then in around the foot. So that's a positive. Now, a negative about a stitch down is on my side, recrafting. There's a lot of cobblers out there that say we don't touch them. Well, we usually don't either because I'm gonna have to hand stitch instead of using my green machine to get this new shoe stitched. So one of the good things about hand stitching though is you can get it right back in the original holes, and we're gonna pre-punch the holes. It makes stitching a lot quicker.
Okay, so here's where we're at. We are not actually going with Vibram Christie's on this pair of boots. We decided to go with Vibram Christie's as basically a midsole. And the reason for that is JD is always out in the elements. So the mud, wet grass, whatnot when he's off on these historic places. What he said was, I want something that has a little more cushion to it, but something that's going to hold up. So we didn't want to go with EVA crepe. We didn't want to go with anything that might get torn up and ripped easily out when he's hiking about. So we decided to go with the Vibram Christie. But what we're going to do, and you've never seen us do this before, we are going to sand the tread off of this. Yeah, we're going to sand this down, shrink it down just a little bit to give a little more cushion, but then we're going to put a different Vibram sole on here. So let's go ahead and get these sanded down.
Before I glue rubber to rubber, I always like to put a little chloroform on my shoes.
Chloroform? More like boroform.
All right, in all seriousness, this is just a primer. I like to put this on before I do rubber glued to rubber.
All right, guys, I'm going to take off the edge here in case you guys are ever wondering what we're doing with this tool. Whenever you sand, a lot of times it'll create a really sharp edge along this midsole, and this tool will simply remove that sharp edge, and it also makes it look a lot cleaner. All right, so we have these resoled, and now it's time to get these uppers taken care of. As you can see, they probably haven't been hydrated in quite a while. So I reached out to JD, I asked, hey, what product do you want on these? Because I know that you're out in the elements quite a bit. So we're actually going to put some snow seal on there, and it will preserve the leather, and it'll also give a little bit more weather resistance to it. So let's get this leather heated up, and then we will put the snow seal on, and it'll just melt right into that leather.
All right, y'all, so the boots are all finished, but just want to remind y'all to check out Extra. The link for the Black Friday sale is down in the description below. They got some good deals going.
Check them out. Also, guys, quick reminder. Again, these boots belong to JD, who is the gentleman that started the channel, The History Underground. Guys, if you love history, if you just want to learn more about history, then check out The History Underground. I'm telling you, he goes in, he's extremely thorough in his videos. He goes to a lot of amazing places, not only historical places here in the US, but also worldwide. We love watching him, which is one of the reasons we love doing this collab with him, so definitely check it out. All right, now about Origin and these boots.
All right, so the Origin boots, reminder that these are made in the USA. They're made up in Maine, and these are a stitch down construction. They came with some inserts. I wasn't sure if those were put in by JD.
I think the inserts, because I was looking at them more, I think
those come
with the boot.
I'm thinking that they do.
I think they do.
The insole has a layer of Poron on top, so it does have that kind of like a memory foam. Now the insole is like a fiberboard. It's not leather. Now that's something that I would like to see on there, but they are made in the USA. All the other materials are sourced here in the USA, leathers.
Yeah.
And
one of the, I believe one of the co-founders is Jocko Willink, one of the former Navy SEALs. I'm sure you've seen him about on his video channel. Yeah.
For the price, I think it's right about there for you're getting the craftsmanship in the U.S., material sourced in the U.S., the stitch down. I really think that these are going to be a comfortable, almost right out of the box.
I would consider Origin very similar in price point to Red Wing. But I agree with you. These, because they're stitched down, because they have fiberboard and pour on, to your point, they're much more comfortable right out of the box as opposed to a Red Wing, which is using a leather insole and it's a Goodyear welt.
And it's got to
requires a little bit more, it forms better, but a little more break-in time.
But I'd say it's a pretty good shoe.
Yeah.
Pretty good boot for
And on this one, like we said, the reason that the soles on these were good, the only reason that, JD sent them in and collabing with us is he wanted something with a little more comfort because he's always hiking in these when he's going to a lot of his destinations. So that's the reason that we went ahead and took off the original sole, put on that Christie, sanded it down a bit. Again, we did that because we wanted something that was dense but still provided some comfort. And basically we turned these into a little bit more of like a hiking boot.
And a wedge is very comfortable. And then we capped it off with a Vibram 148, which is just a thin, it's a one piece, same thickness all the way across, and then it can put onto any molded type sole. You can put one of these things on. So that's going to give him that tread that he needs getting up on wet grass and stuff like that.
Yep. So that does it, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, check out both the links to those companies and to the History Underground. And until next time, y'all have a good one.